What's up YouTube and welcome back to KangBrosTV. This is a reaction video to Dillian Whyte versus Povetkin 2. Wow. If that's a way to get revenge after getting KO'd yourself, that is the way to do it. All I'm saying, what I've learned from this one, is if Dillian Whyte turns into a weigh-in with abs, with abs, I ain't never seen that before. But you best turn around and go the other way or be ready for some serious heat. Because the way he just kicked off that fight,
you could tell.
Days, bro.
You know how vexed he was. You know in round one. You know you got thinking it like the amount of time that they spent in camp, the delays. You could just tell that that bell went. And he was just like, you know what? Nah, F this whole training plans. Because I'm just gonna go ahead and just go ham. The way he just went for him. Even Povetkin was like, he goes, oh, wait a minute. Oh shit, wait, whoa.
You talk about Povetkin, yeah, but the way he bopped into the ring, I actually thought man was half asleep. No joke. Until he got lit up for a couple of the first round, then he suddenly woke up. But you talk about how Dillian Whyte was just on job, but to me the way he boxed as well was very, very smart. Some of the stuff that he did in the ring today,
yeah, okay,
like ducking shots, the combinations he threw in there, mate, I was impressed.
Okay, so can I ask you a question?
Go on.
Carl Froch said a couple of times at the end of that fight that was a punch perfect performance. I don't think it's punch perfect. I think that's a bit. Let's not get carried away. There's a few he was still reckless in parts. I'm very impressed with the performance, but if he was in there against, let's just say, we'll come into our conversation in a minute, but someone at a slightly higher level or with a bit more movement, they're still going to cause problems. So that's my only slight.
I know the angle you're coming from, because when you watch Dillian Whyte, you're always like, Dillian, easy.
Yeah.
You're on edge because what you're saying is, Dillian, don't get caught in this, because when he connects, Dillian Whyte goes full throttle and punches coming from all over the place. So when that's what I hear what you're saying. But when you talk about punch perfect, when you talk about the combination shots that he landed, some of them, look, you have to give Povetkin props. My man's 41 years old, and he took some heavy blows.
Okay, so here's a question
even
for you.
Before the knockout, right?
I got a question for you on the knockout. You know when he first clapped him with the straight right, yeah. So he lined up with the jab and then blaps, yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as he hit the ropes, shouldn't the referee not jumping in there because he's only being kept up because of the ropes, no?
He bounced forward and even he was like, oh shit. He was trying to get his hands up before Dillian Whyte. He couldn't do it, bro.
It was the joke because he got clapped, hit the ropes, yeah, and the ropes they zing back and chucked him forward. If you watch it slow motion, you think, oh shit,
He thought it was some WWE thing. You know that Rock runs from side to side? It was one of them. He couldn't get his arms up quick enough. But listen.
What's the rule? Is there not a rule that says if it's knocked down, if the rope's keeping him up? Because that rope weren't there, he would have just carried on falling, though.
I don't know. Maybe people who are in the game and know the rules put that. But like I said, I think he was still up on his feet, and I don't know. But the
not
shots
by choice. Not by choice. Was on his feet.
The shots that he caught after that, that left hook. Oh my god!
Even the one that hit on his neck,
mate. Listen, look, we've said before, his left hook is probably one of the best, if not the best, in the whole heavyweight division.
Short, sharp, explode. It's just nuts.
You could see the punch come in, and you know that he was obviously defenseless at that point. And look, the joke is, my man still found his way up somehow. I don't know what kind of Russian vodka this man is drinking, but boy, I couldn't believe he got it back up. So like I said, I want to give some props to Povetkin, but we say this on this channel a lot, that we don't want to push people to say retire, but we said this a few times, but Povetkin now, you're 41 years old, and I think one of my cousins mentioned it. His face looked like, like from Home Alone when he gets dashed with an iron on his face. Yeah, man. It just looked fucked up. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think it's time for Povetkin to say, listen, it's done. Because I know this calls of it's 1-1 and let's make this a third fight. Where does Dillian Whyte go and all this kind of stuff? And you mentioned this in the video before. Even in the preview video, we said the prediction was that even if he wins or if he loses, where does Dillian Whyte go? And this we'll discuss now. But just quickly on Povetkin, do you think its time is done, or do you think you can still see another fight coming?
Well, listen, I still see that he could get another fight. I don't doubt that he could get a fight.
With what? With Dillian Whyte?
No, not with Whyte. Forget that. That's
what I'm saying, because they're talking about a trilogy.
There's nothing in it. I mean, I think Dillian Whyte would give him the third fight just because of the pure respect that he has for the brand. For someone that's put you to sleep like that. And for Dillian Whyte, it is a good fight because Dillian Whyte was thinking, yes, he did beat me. Yes, I take that. But even up to that point of that knockout, he was cruising in that fight. And he wasn't in shape, really, in comparison to what he was today.
The reason I asked that question is because I don't want that third fight.
I don't want the third fight. Just because Povetkin, whatever everyone wants to say, he'll go down as one of the top heavyweights of all time.
He's been there for a long time.
Yeah, but look at Dillian mentioned it earlier. Look at the losses that he's had in his record. They're top fighters that he's lost to, and he's then beaten Dillian Whyte before at 41 years old or 40 years old at the time. I'm not sure, but he will go down. And his amateur career, the fights that he's had, he's fought Klitschko, he's been a champion. He will go down as one of the top names in heavyweight boxing, regardless of what people think of him. But what you don't want to see is him carry on fighting and start taking L's left, right, and centre. I don't want to see that.
But he took big shots today.
Horrible shots. Disgusting shots.
And he stayed on his feet.
Disgusting. But for example, Fabio Wardley fought Molina today. Molina is somebody who's been in the ring with some top guys. Molina was battering Wardley, I felt, in shots when Wardley looks okay and he's still young, but you're probably thinking that Wardley, who's a young, up and coming heavyweight, to fight someone like Povetkin. That's a good fight for the young fighter, but I don't want to see him disrespected like that because he's better than And I still think Povetkin would probably beat him. But the point being, he's 41 years old. There isn't really much to prove, and enjoy life, I'd say. That's what my thing was. Listen, you made some money, enjoy your life now. These last 2 fights alone would have put big money in his pocket. So,
the one thing I want to touch on before we talk about where he goes from here, just to flip the coin, because everyone knows we're big Dillian Whyte fans. A lot of people I've seen have said AJ beats Dillian Whyte, and he really has. People says Tyson Fury punches his lights out. This is what they say. 3, they say Wilder knocks out Dillian Whyte. 4, they say Usyk over 12 rounds beats Dillian Whyte. I've heard even some goons go as far as saying that Joyce beats Dillian Whyte. Now, I totally disagree with the final one. But if you look at some of these points that people are making and take our kind of vision and bias towards Dillian Whyte, would you agree with some of these things that people are saying here? Because then we can move on to where he goes.
I've been thinking about this, right? And I've been thinking about it quite a lot. Joshua, since the Dillian Whyte fight, has shown vulnerabilities, which is something that he hasn't shown before, and he got rocked by Dillian Whyte. Everyone seems to forget that he was rocked. Dillian Whyte was in horrible shape, really, in comparison to what he is now,
and injuries apparently. The shoulder.
Yeah, but even still, he had Joshua on the ropes. Yeah, so I don't accept people telling us, oh yeah, he's beaten him in the past, but fighters change and things move on and experience happens. So that fight for me isn't a foregone conclusion. The only one out of them that I'd say he struggles with is Tyson Fury. Because you know my opinion on Tyson Fury. I think he's the most elite heavyweight that I've seen in a long, long time. Yeah, I don't think there's many in cross generations. I don't think there's many heavyweights that beat Tyson Fury. And that's just my opinion.
And I don't think most boxing fans would disagree with that. Yeah. And even if Dillian Whyte asks himself this question, of course he's not going to say he's going to get banged by him, but I'm sure he'll say that will be the trickiest.
That's the trickiest one. But Wilder, that's the one that bugs me. Yeah, that bothers me because everyone talks about Wilder's punching power. He knocks people out. Yes, he does. Dillian Whyte knocks people out. Yeah, Dillian Whyte is a knockout specialist. So people need to put some respect on that as well. The one thing that everyone says about Wilder is he can't box, which he can't. It's proven. Yeah, Tyson Fury boxed his face off in those both fights. It doesn't matter what everyone says about the first fight. Everyone knows what happened in that first fight because it was in the States. They went, listen, one of those ones. Yeah. Deontay Wilder for me was disrespecting Dillian Whyte, and he didn't take the fight with him back in the day because he felt I don't have to take this fight and it's a sticky one. Now all of a sudden he's making noise and he wants to take that fight because he knows it's a payday. Dillian Whyte for me, and maybe I've got blinkers on, I personally feel, and this has slightly changed over time, but I think Dillian Whyte beats Deontay Wilder. I know some people are going to say that they think I'm talking out my ass, but think about it. Think about what I'm saying. Tyson Fury boxed mate's face off, yeah? He boxed his face off and everyone's like, you know what? This shows how bad of a fundamental boxer that Deontay Wilder is. Deontay Wilder was struggling in fights against the Cuban. What's his name again? Ortiz, right? He was getting out boxed but knocked him out because he's a big puncher. Now, I know that Dillian Whyte's been knocked out by 2 people. Povetkin, when he got caught from a shot from the gods. Yeah, let's not get it twisted. Shot from the gods.
No. But that was technically a beautiful shot.
Beautiful shot, but it come from nowhere. Like it wasn't. He'd been
No. He set that up because.
What I'm saying is the whole fight, he's winning that fight. Yeah. And he got caught with a shot and gets knocked out. He got knocked out with a shot like that. He got caught from
I'm just saying, make sure you're just not saying it's fluke, because that's what I'm saying.
But it was a shot from the gods in the sense that in the fight he was been knocked down twice, 3 times. He was on the back foot, and then he got knocked out by Joshua. And even in that fight, he had Joshua troubled, and he had Povetkin down 3 or 4 times prior to that. If you look at the caliber of opponents that Dillian Whyte has fought, and at the stages that he's fought them, for me, he has done more to show me that he can beat Deontay Wilder. People disagree with that, not a problem. Let's talk about it, yeah? But that, for me, it pisses me off that people think that Dillian Whyte's a nobody. Usyk's a problem. Usyk's a problem.
The thing is, I think you make great points there, and I think that is a fair argument. I think no one can really question that in terms of their CVs and those stuff. One thing I didn't like, but then I do get it as well, was Dillian Whyte mentioned after this fight, was that he was talking about, he goes, give me a break. He actually said that. He said, like, give me a fight which is not a risky fight all the time. So it looks like it's taken its toll, mentally, physically. He just wants now, he knows he can't have the title fights. He knows he can't fight.
But I'll flip that on you. What would you be saying in that situation? Because you're thinking to yourself, you've been telling me take this fight, beat this person, beat this person, beat this person.
Yeah.
All come with problems. They've all come with big problems. But he beat them.
This is what I'm saying. Like, even though he said it and I didn't like it, I get what he's saying. Like you said, he's been fighting all these top fighters recently, and it's going to drain you, and it is risky every single time. But the one thing, the reason why I don't agree with it, and I think if I was myself in the situation, is you're not getting the fight against AJ, you're not getting the fights against Tyson Fury anytime soon. You're not getting any younger, and for me, you need to be amongst big paydays now, and only when the big payday I can see, which is ridiculous payday, would be Deontay Wilder. Make a trilogy, make a double fight. But I know it's going to take a lot out of him, but if he goes on the route of going for a fight which isn't as risky, I do not see Dillian Whyte getting up for it. I think you'll find it hard to get up for it.
So from your perspective, you're saying a trilogy with Wilder is what you should be looking to do now.
That's where the money is as well. Like, there's no guarantee.
So you don't think there's any money with him fighting Andy Ruiz? You think there's no money in that?
There is, but not on the Wilder level. No way.
Okay, so you don't think that you're going to get more Mexicans in a stadium to watch Andy Ruiz on Cinco de Mayo? Yeah, Deontay Wilder's only just becoming. People are only just starting to really understand who this guy is. Andy Ruiz Jr. will fill out more. For me, Andy Ruiz Jr. Cinco de Mayo, Mexicans will pile into a stadium for him. You'll get massive dough. Well, then,
all I'm saying is go where the money is. But that's essentially what I'm saying. So if you're telling me, like I said, I'm not a promoter. If you're telling me that fight gets more money against Ruiz, which is a fantastic fight, technically as well.
It's a problem.
Mate, it's a problem. Huge problem. I'll go with that. I'm not saying go with the Wilder just because I believe that it'll create more money. If it doesn't, then go with the Ruiz fight. I think that's the path you should be taking. The Usyk fight is a very tricky fight, technically, but
and even then, like you said,
but it's not gonna.
You hit the nail on the head. He's not fighting Joshua. He's not fighting.
And forget about it. Do you know what I mean?
Just park that. It's not. And to be fair, when the way he's talking, I think he gets that. And I think that's what his point was. Let me have these fights now because I've earned this. The last time he got into this situation where he took another tricky fight, he got beat, and he had to take this fight. And if he knew that he lost this fight, then everyone's going to say, "Well, I didn't got to fight him. Oh, thank God, so I ain't going to fight him." So he's probably thinking, right. He mentioned a guy that's got a belt, one of the interim belts or whatever. I can't remember his name now, but he said, "Oh, I'll fight him then. I'll just get that belt as well, the WBA interim belt or something like that, one that David Hay won. Do that, fine, do that." But I agree with you. He's got to maximise his money now. That's what I mentioned in the last fight. But the heavyweight division, and this is where Eddie Hearn, even in his post match, I was listening, so I was like, "You got some big answers here. You need to answer some big questions." And what he said was you can tell he's a shrewd businessman, but he knows that Anthony Joshua is his cash cow. Anthony Joshua's his guy.
Dillian Whyte knows this as well.
Dillian Whyte knows this.
He knows it.
He also knows that Usyk is is signed up to him, right? So that's the WBO. So the WBO, WBA, IBF are in his stable. The only one that he wants is the WBC. Yeah, that's the one that Fury's got. Now Fury will do what he wants. Right, and he's fighting Joshua, so that's wrapped up. Usyk is going to be the one in line to fight Joshua, so that's again in-house sorted. Joyce is in the equation. Now you have to keep Joyce in the equation because he's earned the right to be there. The only avenue I can see is IBF. That's the only avenue that I can see that you've got to do. But then that means he's got to fight the other mandatories that are in that position. Or,
so where are you going with this?
Well, my point being is that he has to that belt. Go get the other belt, that other interim belt. That's all you can do, and then wait for the other two. As soon as you slip up, then you go in.
Because even today, like Eddie Hearn's response, it was a shambles. Really.
That's my point. That's you said where I'm going with this.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Where you go with it?
Because his point, he stood there. He just went, "Oh well."
Exactly.
It's like, well,
as fans, we got nothing.
And that's what I'm saying. Where am I going with it? Is I'm trying to break it down further and say this is why Eddie Hearn gave shit answers, because he knows that Dillian Whyte's getting shafted again. That's basically what it is. Dillian Whyte's getting fucked over again because he's been doing that. I've been doing it to him for time. So what's another couple of years? So,
and like you said, man, you touched on this in the prediction video. So I'm saying, like, even before we knew the verdict, this was going to be the dilemma, and it still remains the same. So for me, this is why if I was to say anything or my opinion on it, is just go get those fights, because you don't know what's going to happen with these guys here. You might never even get this title shot ever. Yeah, that's how I would see it. If you haven't got it now, by now, for what you've done, go out there and just do those big fights if you can make them happen.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
And even if it means, like you said, thinking about it now, I think on a one-off fight, I think he makes a massive amount of money fighting Andy Ruiz Jr. on a one-off. But on a trilogy, yes, Wilder's the way you're going to get the more money over 3 fights.
And even the build-up to it, it'll be insane with those two. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I just thought that would make them more money. But like you said, if that does make them more money, fight the other one, then go for that one.
Well, Cinco de Mayo is Mexican.
Yeah.
You know, that day, Canelo will sell out any arena and people will jump to whatever they're doing to take that fight. You know, if Andy Ruiz is fighting on Cinco de Mayo, everyone's watching.
Well, apparently Billy Joe Canelo's already sold like 40,000 tickets in the pre-sale.
Do you know what I mean?
40,000.
I went to watch Marquez versus Mayweather, yeah? And I was in Vegas. Them Mexicans, oh my days. You would think Mayweather's a nobody. That's Mayweather's hometown. Yeah. There's Mexicans everywhere. And they love that shit. So, for me, if it's a chance for him to make his money, that's what I'd love to see. As massive Dillian Whyte fans, I'd say, fuck the bullshit. Eddie Hearn is taking the piss as it is. Go make your money. Go and fight Andy Ruiz Jr. first, Cinco de Mayo. I believe he beats him. I believe Dillian Whyte beats him. Tough fight, but I believe he beats him.
I think Andrew Ruiz is a tougher fight than Wilder. I think it's a dangerous fight, Andrew Ruiz.
I think Andrew Ruiz is actually a dangerous fight from what I've seen. I mean, you called this even before the Joshua fight took place originally.
I told everyone when he fought Joshua, I said, watch out for this guy, don't sleep on this guy, and he proved it. And now he's in the best shape he's ever been. So for me, I would say actually go for Wilder first, then rather than Ruiz. That's my take.
But if you're talking trilogies, that's what I'm saying. Like,
you know.
But either way, the fact of the matter is, it annoyed me today because one thing Eddie Hearn did say was, this was a make or break fight for Dillian Whyte. If he lost it today, the title credentials. In my head, I was like, you're chatting shit. It actually annoys me listening to him because I'm like, no, it didn't. If he won or if he lost, the position don't change. He ain't going to get the fight for the belts, and he's still going to be fighting the same opportunities that are going to be available to him are exactly the same. So don't try to blow smoke up his ass and try and do make you over because you're lying to him.
It's like the thing is, I hear what you're saying, but then also you got to feel for Eddie Hearn's position. Like he's in a sticky spot. He's got so many fighters right now, and to manage them, like you said, you got the cash cows. It's very hard. What can he? Like you said, how could he answer that question? I don't know, and that's why
push out on WBC. That's what you can do. Push out on WBC.
It is WBC's fault. It is WBC's fault.
And that's it. So that's the avenue you got to take. Well, it ain't me. I'm trying to get this guy that fight. They've been making this and making that. That's what you got to do. Yeah,
but then if your promoter's telling you, you can say, listen, I pay you, or it's your duty to get this done. So don't come to me with this bullshit about it's the WBC's fault.
Yeah, but it also makes you think, well, listen, I'm doing
the best in my power. Yeah.
And if there's an obstacle comes from a sanctioning body.
Yeah,
if you, as a promoter, you can't go in there and say to sanctioning body, that's what you're going to do because they're the governing body.
So yeah, I mean that's our take on the whole fight. The questions that we got, like should Povetkin call it a day? The trilogy, should they do a triple one between those three? The names of the rankings of the fighters that we mentioned. Do you agree that who does Dillian Whyte beat out of those? Who should be taken? Like I said, I'm baffled that people say Joyce beats Whyte.
That's what I said. And also, people just go and watch what happened today. Yeah. If anyone that's got any questions, just go and watch what happened today and put some respect on Dillian Whyte's name. Mm-hmm. And let's just put some perspective on what's going on. He's putting big dudes to sleep. Even look at how he put Chisora out. He took Chisora out. Do you know what I mean? Lucas Brown, sleep. Parker. Banged. So come on, let's a little bit of respect, I reckon, because some people are saying, look, Joyce this. Listen, come on now.
Joyce. Come on now.
Joyce was getting clapped by Dubois. He was losing that fight, and yes, he got his eye cut. But even up to that point, he was taking a battering. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, look, as we say, look, out of the top two, I think Dillian Whyte is solidified as number 3 for me. And then now it is between Ruiz, Wilder. You know, those got out of the circle. There's up there, and let's see what happens. But as I said, he's called for an easier fight or a less dangerous opponent, you know, to keep things moving. As I said, I don't see him getting motivated for that. So, but I get what he wants to do. He just wants to take a little bit of a, you know, off the pedal a little bit. At the moment, he's be full on. Is probably mentally so challenging as well, not just physically. But that's that's my take on it. My brother's mentioned his. You know, let us know what you think should be the next moves for Dillian Whyte and what should be the next fights. So
yeah, and like I said, of the points that I made is, you know, from a management perspective, what would you advise him to do? Take a smaller fight, take whichever route. Out of those, the names that you mentioned, is it Trilogy, going to be most money, Andrew Ruiz Jr., and also, if truth be told, if you were Dillian Whyte, yes, Tyson Fury's and he's a mandatory for that, but who would he want to fight out of those two? Who would he see more joy out of, AJ or Fury? That'd be interesting in itself. I'm sure he's probably going to pick Joshua, maybe.
I would say so.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So yeah, let us know your take on the fight. And until the next big boxing fight, we'll see you then. So don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and definitely comment.